I tell you what, listen, that right there was awesome. And I just cannot, you talk about 4th and 16. We just overcame a bunch of fourth and 16s tonight. We built transitional housing. We put shoes on kids' feet. We did a lot for cancer tonight. There's so many things that are going to be done. So thank you, and hopefully everybody got a lot out of it. So thanks for the live and the silent auction donations. I really thank you very much. And I want you to know one of the reasons that you see these trees in here tonight is because that's what's happened with this foundation over the last 4 years. Because of all of our volunteers, our sponsors, all of you, we've been able to grow and truly branch out and really make an impact in a lot of people's lives. So that's what those trees are representing here tonight. And so before I introduce our speaker, and I'm going to ask that everybody will get quiet as I introduce Jim Kelly, I want to make sure that everybody in here knows that as soon as Jim Kelly is done speaking, there's going to be a fund the need opportunities, because you might not have won a live auction item, you might not have won a silent auction item, but you still want to give something. You'll have that opportunity to do all the way to $100. So I just encourage you to participate. So without further ado, can I ask if everybody can just be quiet, please? Because I know that we are all in for a special treat right now to have the opportunity to hear from Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. Listen, growing up, this is not something I ever thought I would have the privilege to do, but it certainly is an honor to be able to introduce Jim Kelly tonight. He's in the University of Miami Hall of Fame. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He was a first-round draft pick. He played 11 NFL seasons. He also played in the USFL. He's the only Buffalo Bill ever to have his jersey retired. CJ, just a little challenge to you. Jim lives in Buffalo right now with his wife Jill and their 2 daughters, Erin and Camry. And the thing that I probably have grown to really be so impressed about with Jim as I've gotten to know him is he has truly devoted pretty much all of his post-football life to his son Hunter, who died on August the 5th, 2005 at age 8. Hunter suffered from a rare disease, and I know Jim's going to talk to you about that, and he and his wife have since brought incredible national awareness to that disease through their Hunter's Hope Foundation. And the thing that I want to tell you about Jim Kelly as you hear him speak that I think you're going to easily come away with is this is a man that has faced many 4th and 16s in his life, both on and off the field. And each and every time, he has responded like champions respond and has never, ever given up. So let's put our hands together. Let's welcome Hall of Famer Jim Kelly.
Thank you, Dabo. First of all, I want to thank you guys for allowing me, a Miami Hurricane, to come into your backyard. I was one. Now I'm a Clemson Tiger. Come on now. And I apologize in advance if my speech is a little different. I just had major jaw surgery about 3 weeks ago, and they had to remove a lot of my front teeth, and now I feel like I am from West Virginia and Pennsylvania or wherever. So I apologize in advance. All these surgeries, now, CJ, you know what to look forward to. But I know you've been here a while, but I just want to tell you a little bit about the journey I've been on and where I've been, and really listen to Coach Sweeney and talk about, and being around him enough to talk about and listen to what team means. Throughout my life, I've been faced with a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ups, trust me, and a lot of downs. My journey started in Pennsylvania many years ago, growing up in a family of boys. I remember my mother and father, when my dad got out of the Navy, he met my mother, and they decided to have some kids. They started out with a son named Pat, which is here, a son named Ed, a son named Ray, and of course my mother said, that's it, 3 boys, that's all I need. And my dad said 3 boys, that's enough. And my mother said, no, we gotta have a girl. And Dad says, we have 3 boys. And Mom said, no, I need my girl. So he gave her one more try. They had me. To make it 4. And of course, Dad's all excited he has his 4 boys, but nah, Mom, she didn't want that. She wanted that girl. She said, Joe, let's give her one more try for a girl. And, of course, she talked my dad into it, and twin boys next. 6 boys, no girls. But to be honest with you, as we started growing up, all of our goals, all 6 brothers, was to be able to take care of the 2 people we loved, and that was my mom and my dad. And what my father, did growing up, as far as being a steel mill worker, my mother working in the cafeteria, not having much, but we all wanted to be good enough to be able to take care of those 2. And as time went on, growing up through the era that we did, as a teenager, I was one of those little boys growing up in Pennsylvania around Pittsburgh. I was number 12, Terry Bradshaw. And of course, I was fortunate because my hero, they won 4 Super Bowls. So I said, maybe one of these days I'll get that opportunity. And I was one of those kids, just like I'm sure a lot of you guys, dropping back when I was in the backyard. And I was Terry Bradshaw, and I was throwing touchdowns to Lynn Swann and John Stallworth. And I was one of those kids that had a dream to play in the NFL. Well, as time went on, I got a little older. I started thinking where I wanted to go to college. And of course, Clemson did not recruit me. So I had to go somewhere else. But where I'm from, you're either a Pitt or a Penn State guy. And I've always been a big Joe Paterno fan, big Penn State Nittany Lion. I went to this football camp like Coach Sweeney has his camp. And I said, I'm going to be a Penn State Nittany Lion, wear those boring uniforms, and maybe one of these days reach my goal of being in the NFL. 2 weeks before the national signing date, my senior year, Joe Paterno calls. He said, Jim, I just want to let you know that we've already signed 2 all-state quarterbacks, but we'll give you a scholarship to play linebacker. And I'm like floored because my whole time, I went to his football camp. They came to watch me play basketball, and all of a sudden, they don't want me now. And from that point on, I said, no, thanks, but no thanks. I want to play quarterback. So that was the time the University of Miami was recruiting me, and it's the first time I was ever, had a steak dinner. First time I had lobster. I flew down to Miami. They wined and dined me. Everything was legal. Trust me. You know how that is. Everything's legal nowadays. So I got on the University of Miami and thinking, okay, Lou Saban's the head coach. He was a coach of the Buffalo Bills. He played, pro-style offense, everything that me as a quarterback wanted. He was running the veer offense. And if you ever watch me play football, I am not an option quarterback. I love that pocket. I'm not very fast. So I decided I'm thinking about transferring. But I was redshirted, which I was blessed. So after redshirt freshman year, Lou Saban, he leaves, and Howard Schnellenberger comes in. And this is the interesting part. Now I make myself from 5th string my redshirt freshman year to now my freshman year, redshirt freshman year. Now I make myself, now I'm the backup. I'm all excited. At least I'm going to get that opportunity. So here we are. We played 5 or 6, 7 games, and we're not doing very well. We're 3 wins, 5 losses, 3 wins, 4 losses, something like that. Now we're traveling to Penn State to play the Nittany Lions. So we're going up, and my mom and dad are coming to games, some of my brothers, and I'm thinking, okay, mom's going to bring me the chocolate chip cookies, what all, athletes and college kids want, maybe some clothes to take back to school. And right after a pregame meal, Coach Schnellenberger came up to me and said, Jim, I need to talk to you. And I'm thinking, automatically, okay, last night, what did I do? I didn't get in trouble, did I? And I'm trying to think of all the negative things. And he says, I decided I'm starting you today, a quarterback. And I said, excuse me? He said, yeah, we think that you deserve the opportunity to show us you can do it. Now remember, this is a coach we're going against, Penn State, that said I wasn't good enough to play quarterback on his team. And here's a coach saying, we're going to give you the chance today to play against them. First thing I did was I excused myself. I went to the bathroom, and I threw up for about 20 minutes. I was so nervous. As a matter of fact, we beat the Penn State Nittany Lions that day 26-10. That was the start of my career in college. But now, the next week, we're playing number 1 ranked, undefeated Alabama Crimson Tide. Check this out. They decided to change the game from the regular regional game to the ABC's Wide World of Sports Game of the Week. Now they touted Jim Kelly, freshman sensation, taking on the undisputed Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa against Paul Bear Bryant. I was 3 for 15, 3 interceptions, and I got knocked out cold in the 3rd quarter. My first 4 college games were against Penn State, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Florida. I come from a small town of 800 people, no street lights, 25 on my football team, and 60 in my graduating class. Now I'm playing in front of 100,000 people every week. But as time went on throughout my college career, now I'm fast forward to my senior year, and we talked about the ups and downs of life and growing up and knowing that you always need people behind you and people pulling for you. Now it's my senior year. Right before the year started, I'm touted as a Heisman Trophy candidate against guys like John Elway, Dan Marino, Herschel Walker. Now we're doing well. We're 3 wins, I think 3 wins, 1 loss. We're traveling to Virginia Tech. And as a quarterback, I drop back to pass, and I know if you're athletes or you watch the game very closely, when a quarterback gets outside the pocket, most smart quarterbacks, what they'll do is they'll slide or run out of bounds. Well, I dropped back, my receivers are covered, I started running towards the sidelines, but I was too slow to get to the sidelines. So what I should have done was slide and get down, but I don't know why, but out of the corner of my mind, I thought, maybe if I cut back, I might be able to score a touchdown. I don't know what I was thinking. Well, I cut back, I planted that foot, and I got blindsided by one of the linebackers. And he totally put me on my shoulder, and I blew my right arm out. And that was the last college game I ever played. And, of course, everything, as usual, what you would think, is career over, everything like this. I knew my brothers were there. I went back to the University of Miami. I had my shoulder operated on the next day. Came out of the operation, and when I was able to talk to the doctor, he explained everything to me. He said, I hope you studied. And I said, why is that? He said, we had to insert 3 metal rods into your right arm, and you probably will never get your range of motion back. Talk about 4th and 16. I think it was 4th and 16 with the greatest comeback ever, because one of the things that I said to myself, of course, bumming up, thinking that all my dreams of taking care of mom and dad and my 5 brothers, gone. But I had my brothers, 2 of my brothers moved on to the University of Miami, and I had my other brothers push me. And my oldest brother, Pat, who is here tonight, amongst my other 5 brothers, I said, Jim, don't ever let anybody tell you can't do it. You're a Kelly, you're a fighter. We will get together, we'll get through this together as a family. That's exactly what they did. They pushed me, they helped me rehab, and all of a sudden, now here it is. I rehabbed my shoulder back, and now it's draft time. And this is the year John Elway, remember he decided he didn't want to play for the Baltimore Colts, where John Elway was picked and then didn't want to play there, went to Denver. Well, here I am at my agent's house sitting on a chair. If you can visualize this, it's not like back nowadays when everybody flies to New York City and it's ESPN, everything's going. We're sitting in front of a little TV. I got my mother on the right arm of the chair, my dad on the left arm of the chair, and we're watching the TV screen. And after like the 7th or 8th pick, my agent turns to me, he said, Jim, is there anywhere you don't want to play? And I said, oh, yeah. Now, remember, I went to the University of Miami of Florida. I said, oh, yeah, I don't want to play for the Green Bay Packers. I don't want to play for the Minnesota Vikings. And I sure don't want to play for the Buffalo Bills. So here now it's the 12th pick. It's the Buffalo Bills. I'm saying, Lord, please, I don't want to play for Buffalo. Don't pick me. Don't pick me. Now, remember, my mother's on the right arm. My dad's on the left arm. All of a sudden, Pete Rozelle gets up and he says, the Buffalo Bills select with the 12th pick in the 1st round, tight end from Notre Dame, Tony Hunter. I go, yeah, and I jumped up. I hit my mother, knocked my mother on the ground. I picked my mom. I go, Mom, I'm not playing for Buffalo. And my agent looked at me and said, Jim, relax. The Bills also have the 14th pick in the 1st round. Remember that ups and downs? Yeah, I'm still going through those ups and downs. And, of course, the Buffalo Bills select with their 14th pick in the 1st round, quarterback from the University of Miami, Jim Kelly. I cried. 5 minutes later, you would have thought I won the lottery, how happy I was when I was talking to the Buffalo media. But to be honest with you, it's one of the greatest decisions I ever made in my life. Even though after I was drafted by Buffalo, I went to the USFL for 2 years where, to be honest with you, I probably learned the passing game there with a great coach by the name of Miles Davis, who ran a run and shoot, and a great head coach in Jack Pardee, and God bless him, he just passed away last week. But my dream of still wanting to play in the NFL, and of course my father, growing up in Pittsburgh and only 3 hours from Buffalo, my dad, of course, wanted me to play for Buffalo because all my dad wanted, he didn't want a new house, he didn't want a new car. My father wanted a big motor home so him and his buddies can all tailgate and go to the Buffalo Bills football game. That's what my dad wanted. So needless to say, the Buffalo Bills, I joined them 3 years later, and then my first game was against the New York Jets. And I remember running out on the field and how proud that made my father and my 5 brothers and my mother feel that, you know, their son finally made it into the NFL, everything I've ever wanted to do. And I remember everybody says one of the hardest hits you've ever had. Now it's the first quarter and about 3 series in, and I'm calling the cadence. I'm saying, blue 23, blue 23, boom. I get hit. Joe Klecko, some of you older gentlemen might know, remember Joe Klecko? Well, Joe Klecko came across and he hit me so hard, knocked me on my back. Not one of my offensive line moved. He didn't say, welcome to the NFL. He looked down at me and says, hey, boy, this is not the USFL. And I looked up to him and said, yes, sir. My linemen were so scared during that game. But again, the ups and downs. And of course, that was the start of something great in Buffalo. Going and, of course, dreaming and playing so hard and wanting to make your parents proud and wanting to make your home team proud. And I remember now we're in 1990, we're playing against the LA Raiders in our AFC Championship game. Really excited. We wind up beating them 51-3 to go to our first Super Bowl. And how exciting that was for me. And also to go into that game so pumped up that I finally was able to take my team there. And here it is, exactly same as that when I was a little boy. I was leading the Buffalo Bills. It's the fourth quarter. We're losing 20-19. I'm the quarterback. 2 minutes to go in the football game. I got to lead my team down the field to win the Super Bowl. March down, hand off to Thurman Thomas. A pass to Andre Reed for 7 yards. A pass to James Loft and Keith McKellar. Another draw to Thurman Thomas for 12 yards. A scramble up the middle by me for 1 yard. So we're moving down the field, maybe a little bit slower, but we go up the middle, and all of a sudden we line up to kick a game-winning field goal. Scott lines up, boom, he kicks it. And of course, plenty of distance, and sails wide right, and we lose. And how that feels as a player, how it feels as a fan. I remember your tough loss you had a couple years ago, but it's what you do about it, being able to jump back up and do something about it. Throughout the whole course of my life, I've been faced with so many difficult times, but my father always told me, never, ever give up. You're a Kelly, you're a fighter. Keep plugging along, things will work out as long as you never give up. Same thing next year. We make it, we go back to the Super Bowl. We play against the Washington Redskins. We get beat again. Very easy for us to just, forget, try to, hold on to that game, and you pray that the guys around you, whether it's, Thurman Thomas or whether it's the doctors or whoever it may be, everybody in that organization, very easy to give up or not quite work as hard. The mental preparation that we had is unmatched. We did it 4 years in a row where we went to the Super Bowl and didn't win. It wasn't 4 years, it wasn't 4 out of 7 years, 4 years in a row. But the mental part of being able to forget it and learn from it is what we did. And then, of course, as those Super Bowl days wound down and my career wound down, I decided I'm going to give up the game of football. I remember it was 1996. I played my last game against Jacksonville. I sustained my 6th concussion, and I knew it was time for me to hang my cleats up. And that was one of the toughest and hardest things I ever did in my life, was hang up football. I've been playing it ever since I was a little boy, and the passion was still there, but I knew my body couldn't take it anymore. At the time, we were very blessed, my wife and myself. We had a beautiful daughter named Erin, and my wife at the time was pregnant. 2 weeks later on Valentine's Day, which is my birthday, the morning my wife's water broke. And of course, rushing her to the hospital, and all I could think about as a father is, boy, wouldn't it be great to have a boy born on Daddy's birthday? Well, my dream came true. My son was born on my birthday, Valentine's Day. And the things that I thought about, and a game plan that was already written, a script was already done. My brother Danny, who's here tonight, with his son Zach. Zach was born 11 days before Hunter. So I automatically thought about Zach and Hunter playing football together, playing basketball together, baseball, going hunting and fishing, everything that I love to do and my father did with us, I dreamt about doing with my son. And at the beginning, it was tough. When we took our son home, he passed all the newborn screening tests. We thought he was completely healthy. 4 months into his life, he was diagnosed with a fatal disease called Krabbe leukodystrophy. And what that is, it affects the white matter in your brain, and pretty much everything we take for granted every day, the movement of your arms and your legs and your hearing, your sight, your swallowing, everything that we take for granted, these children do not have those functions. The average life was only 14 months. And when me and my wife heard this devastating news, we could have either folded our tents or done something about it. Even though there were times where we struggled, not only with our son and watched him suffer every single day, but we struggled in our marriage, but we never gave up. And what brought us through this all was our faith. And of course, as time went on, I prayed that, Hall of Fame. I remember sitting in the hotel in New Orleans with my brothers, my dad, and my high school football coach, and saying, boy, wouldn't it be great to to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and have my son be there that day. Well, they picked me to be in the class of 2002. And from that day in January up until August, I prayed every night to the good Lord that if it was his will, that my son Hunter would be there that day when Daddy got introduced into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Well, God blessed me that day. My son was there. And even though my son will never run out on a football field and hear the screaming roars that I did as a football player, as Clemson people do as football fans here, he will do greater things. He will save the lives of thousands and thousands of kids. And that's what we've been able to do with our foundation. We set up our foundation in 1997. And to make a long story short, because I get so passionate about this, but we're trying to help, it's universal newborn screening, and trying to get every state to test for the maximum amount of treatable diseases. Give these kids a chance to dream. I found out, my wife found out, that there's thousands and thousands of babies die every single year in this country because they were born in the wrong state that didn't test for that disease. And now we are doing something about it. And I'll tell you what, everything you're doing tonight to help these foundations, these charities tonight, trust me, it goes a long, long way. When we give out these checks to charities in Western New York, to hear from the people that run them what $5,000 means to them, what $10,000 means to them, how much it means to have support. Words cannot describe it. For you all to come out here tonight and to support not only what the Clemson Tigers and what they mean, but to support these foundations, these charities. We all have dreams. We have dreams as parents. I have dreams for my two daughters that I have. They're beautiful and I love them. My son is with me every single day. Every time I come up here to speak, I speak on behalf of my son. Every time I come up to speak, if you probably maybe not notice, I always take a step to the side. And I let the good Lord in beside me, because I know that I can't do this alone. It takes everybody pulling together, whether it's the Lord, whether it's Dabo and his coaching staff, whether it's the volunteers that are here. It takes people like you coming out, being able to spend your money. And I know what it meant to me in my foundation when people step up to the plate and when they're all in. You all have been all in for a long time. Now I'm proud to say I'm a part of Clemson Tigers because I have a nephew named Chad Kelly who's here now. This is my first time at Clemson. It will not be my last time. And I just want to thank Coach Sweeney for allowing me to come up and share a part of my journey. And hopefully by what I've been able to speak from the heart tonight, it maybe will help you down the road to maybe, if there's things going wrong in your life, remember, don't ever give up. Just step to the side, let somebody come in here and help you out. You're not alone. It takes a team. It takes everybody pulling together. We are all in. Thank you, and may God bless you.